Our correspondent James Waterhouse on the border and describes what the area is like.
This is one of the few symptoms you're able to look at outside of Iran as to what exactly is going on for the people at the heart of it. I think many talk about the extraordinary aerial bombardments we have seen. I mean, as you can imagine, it's pretty petrifying for people. And they're making either a lengthy train journey or car ride to the north. Here, the border is just over the mountains behind me. We are at altitude. The temperatures seriously dip at night. So it's not an easy journey to take. There are 3 borders here between Turkey and Iran, 2 for trade, civilians, and all 3 are open. But the numbers we are seeing are in the hundreds, really. We are not seeing the mass exodus you might see with other wars. And I think the reason for that is, yes, while these bombardments have been sizable, there are still many places for Iranian safety, and the state infrastructure itself is not collapsing. You meet people who are anti-government, anti-regime, but take it with not just the Western criticisms aimed at Tehran, but also this extraordinary intervention we are seeing, that is huge geographical area. We meet other people who do believe that an overthrowing is possible, but for that to happen, you sense that more dominoes need to fall. You need to see a much more large-scale uprising in Iran, and of course many Iranians also talk about here, they talk of that entails when you become face-to-face with deadly security forces. So it really is actually quite a nuanced, mixed picture emerging, but of course, as news spreads that the border is indeed open, make that journey, but for now it seems stable.
James, Turkey's obviously not been dragged into the war in a sort of direct way, but Turkey is critical of this war, isn't it? Just give us a sense of Turkey's stance on what's happening at the moment.
Well, President Erdogan is unimpressed, let's put it like that. He's described the war as being against international laws. But there are also other dimensions for Turkey. It is a member of the NATO military alliance, and now it finds itself sharing a border with a war zone. The way is one of the longest established in the world. It's been here between Turkey and Iran for hundreds of years. It is quite stable in that sense. But I think another headache for President Erdogan are these reports, these very deliberate briefings from the American side that they are indeed looking to arm Kurdish militia groups who are based right along the border with Iran, but also inside Iraq as well. Now, that might give a bit of insight into the White House's thinking. Maybe they could arm these groups to mount some kind of offensive. But the list of ifs and buts is extensive as well. If that was to happen, they would come face to face into direct confrontation with Iran's security apparatus, where you have hundreds of thousands of armed men potentially. And for Turkey, they take real issue with such a military presence on and within its borders, to say the least. So you can imagine, this is quite a militarised part of Turkey. You can imagine they'll be looking at events with increased and those events are happening apace, as we know.
Funeral ceremonies in Tehran for the assassinated supreme leader have been postponed. A member of Iran's Assembly of Experts, which is responsible for choosing the next leader, has told State TV that it's close to a conclusion, but warns the country was in a war situation. With me now is BBC Persian's Behrang Tajdeen. It's good to have you here. There's lots of names, obviously, being suggested for the next supreme leader, but let's get a sense of what it means to the actual Iranian people. Does it make any difference? And just give me a sense of what they're saying and how they're feeling.
More likely than not, who chosen as the next supreme leader, actually, the jurists, the clerics, members of the Assembly of Experts think they know who the next leader should be. They don't choose it, but let's not go there. It won't change the policies, and we will mostly see the same sorts of lines, the same sort of hardline policies pursued in the future. but for by saying that a human rights organization based in the US has so far confirmed 1,097 civilians, 181 children under the age of 10 have been killed in this war in just 4 days, which is a horrific number. It's not just a number, every single one of these people have a story and have family. And it is still investigating hundreds more reports of death. Also, what we are hearing from people in Iran, which is very difficult because the internet has been shut down for almost 5 days now, and getting accurate, up-to-date information is not that easy, although very few people have some sort of access to internet, and we are trying. My colleagues in BBC Persian are trying to curate up-to-date picture of what's going on. Tehran, the Iranian capital with over 10 million residents, is deserted. Even it's completely deserted at night. Not many people come out during the day. People are stockpiling on food, and many shops are closed. This is a war situation, and many people are fearful because, for example, a police station is targeted by Israeli Air Force. There are homes, there are blocks of flats next to it, and those could be damaged. And that's why we are seeing such a large number of civilians, casualties.
It's really good to talk to you. Thank you so much, Behram Tajdeen there from BBC Persia, giving us the viewpoint that as much as that BBC Persian can access of Iranians who are caught up in this war. Just to remind you, BBC Persian is our Persian language service. It's used by 24 million people around the world, most of them despite being blocked and routinely jammed by Iranian authorities. Stay with us here on BBC News.
You're with BBC News Live and our coverage of events happening in the region. At the moment, we're monitoring the situation in Israel, in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, and in Beirut. In those locations at the moment, it's 1:26 in the afternoon. This is another day that has seen continuous bombardments there in Lebanon especially, and in Iran. We're also monitoring these live pictures from Cyprus. Now, what we understand is that several European allies of Cyprus are now sending warships, fighter jets to the region. That's after an RAF airbase was targeted by Iranian drones. So the latest we have, as you can see in these live pictures, 2 Greek warships, frigates, arrived there that we can just see on the horizon. Later, we're expecting a frigate from France is the HMS Dragon, which is leaving Britain and sailing to Cyprus there to offer some support to the island nation. We're also receiving pictures from Tehran. Of course, it's incredibly difficult to get images with people there on the ground, but we have been hearing from the Israeli army as to their actions in Tehran as they continue their bombs of Iran, saying that they've been targeting security headquarters in Iran as part of their ongoing strikes. We've also been getting reaction. Different leaders around the world. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, has spoken in support of the ongoing war in Iran. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.